What's up guys, welcome back to K's Daily Programming. This is the second video of our SQL Fundamental series, and if you haven't watched the first video, I'll put the link to that video in the description box below. If you are new to SQL, I recommend that you watch our first video. That is our introduction to SQL, and like I said in our first video, I will try and keep these videos as short as possible, as easy as ABC, and as smooth as the baby's bottom. So without wasting any of your time, let's get straight into this. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys how to download and install SQL Server and SQL Server Management Studio. So what you need to do is to open your browser and search for SSMS download, and then click on the file or on the link here that says SQL Server Management Studio. I'll also put this link in the description box below. So for this exercise, we actually need two files. So the first file that we need, it's our SQL Server, and the second file that we need, it's our SQL Server Management Studio, or SSMS. So let's go ahead and download our SQL Server. So if you have watched our first video, you know the difference between a SQL Server and a SQL Server Management Studio. So just scroll down to this page and you'll see the two options here. So if you're working on a production environment, I recommend that you go with the Express version of this. But for this exercise that we're going to do, the developer version should be enough. So just go ahead and download the developer version. As that it's downloading, let's go back to our second file. This is our SQL Server Management Studio. Let's go ahead and download that. And as you can see, this is quite a bigger file. It's actually 629 megabytes. So depending on your internet speed, it might take a minute or two. So just be patient with it, and I'll see you guys when this download is done. Once both your files are done downloading, you can close your browser and go to downloads folder. So in the downloads folder, you're gonna see the two files that you actually downloaded. This is the SQL Server and this is the SQL Server Management Studio. So in this order, I recommend that the first file that you install is your SQL Server. So let's just go ahead and run that file. So here it shows you three options, whether you want to download the basic, the custom, or the download media. So the custom, it gives you an option to actually do things such as renaming your SQL Server instance or creating a SQL login credentials. But since we are new to this and we don't want to mess anything up, you don't want to create something or modify something that will mess up your processes in the future, that you find out that something is not working and it's because of what you did when you were installing your file. So I recommend that we stick with the basic installation. So let's just go ahead and click the basic installation and accept the license and T's and C's. And then here you click, just keep everything as it is, don't change your folders, and then just click on install. So this is actually a big file, and it's going to take a minute or two to download the files and install them on your machine. So just give it a minute or two and don't cancel it while it's still downloading. Just let it do its thing, and I'll come back to you guys when this is done installing. So once your SQL Server it's done installing, here at the bottom you can actually see some few options. The first one says connect now, customize, and install SSMS. So if you click on install SSMS, it's just gonna take you back to the first page that we were when we downloaded our two files, the SQL Server and the SSMS. But since we already have our SSMS, so what you're gonna do is you're going to close this, and then now you're going to install the SSMS. So just click on that, And on the installation wizard, just go and say install, and then agree on that. And also, this is also a big file as well, so it also might take some time to install. So just be patient with this. Just let it install. Don't cancel it in the middle of installation. That might ruin some things up. Just let it do its thing. Once it's finished, I'll come back to you guys and we'll continue the video. So once the file is done downloading, you can just go ahead and close it. And then now what you want to do is just go in your search bar and search for SQL Server. And this is the file that you're looking for. And I recommend that since you'll be dealing with this on a daily basis, just pin it to your taskbar. That way you have ease of access. And then I'm just going to open this file. So this is your SQL Server Management Studio. And if you look here, you can see your server name. This is the server name that has been assigned by your SQL Server installation. And this is nothing but your local machine name. And I'm going to show you guys multiple ways of logging in. So at this moment, if you open your SQL Server Management Studio and you don't see nothing here, or you see something like this might be because of two reasons. The first one might be that you installed SQL Server Management Studio first and you haven't installed the SQL Server itself. Or if you have installed those two files and then it still appears like this, so what you can do is you can click on this drop down. So on your first time, you won't get these many options. You can also see multiple SQL Server instances here because I actually went and installed my SQL Server more than once. But here, if you don't see anything, you can just go to browse for more and then click here on your database engine. Then you'll see your local host here. Then just click on the name and say okay. And then since we don't have any SQL authentication, so we're just going to keep authentication as our Windows authentication and then just go connect. And here on the left, you can actually see that I've connected to my SQL Server. And then if I go to databases, you can see two folders, the systems databases and the database snapshot. So if I click on the systems, you can see these are the databases that are automatically created by your SQL Server. Do not mess with these databases if you are not sure of what you're doing. So just play far from these because you might mess something up and it might require you to reinstall your SQL Server. So I'm just going to actually disconnect this and show you the second way of logging in or connecting to your SQL Server. So just go click connect, and instead of specifying your server name, what you could actually do is you could just write localhost here, or you could actually specify your machine's local IP address if you know it. But for now, I'm just going to go with localhost and then just click connect. So this is the same as before, but instead of my machine name here, you can actually see that it says localhost. So if you experience issues trying to connect to your SQL Server, one of them might be because your SQL Server it's not running. So I'll try and stimulate that error and show you guys how you can try and fix that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to disconnect from that and we're going to go to services and search for our SQL Server instance. And you can see this is our SQL Server. You can actually see the name of our SQL Server instance there, and the status of this service is actually running. So if I were to go and stop this, that's not running anymore. So sometimes when you connect, you might experience an error that goes something like this. So this is because your SQL Server is actually not running and your SSMS can actually connect to it. So if you experience this error, a way forward of solving it is actually to go to your services and just search for your SQL Server instance and make sure that your SQL Server is running. Just check on the status. If it's not running, just start it to run. But by default, this service is set to run automatically when you boot your machine. So if you go to properties and then you can see your startup file, it says automatically. So it says automatic. So this is going to start automatically when you boot your machine. So if it says delayed, it might take a second or two after the boot, or you can just set it to automatic. But if you're not sure of this service and what it does, I suggest that you don't mess up with it, because by default a SQL Server is going to configure the settings for you. So let's just cancel that, just make sure that it's running, and let's go back to our SQL Server Management Studio. And now let's connect back to our SQL Server. So you can see now you were back here and we are connected. So the first thing that I'm going to show you guys in this video is how to create a database. So I'm actually going to show you two ways of doing that. So the first way is, what you want to do is you can actually go to your databases, just right click on that folder, and you can see here that it says new database. You can click on that, and then it's going to give you a little interface where you can actually give your database a name. If you've watched my first video, I explained that a SQL Server Management Studio, it's actually an application that just gives you a user interface of doing things. So it gives you the options of doing things via code, or some of the functionalities you can do them using the provided interface. So this is one of the functions you can do using the provided interface. So I'm just going to name this database 1. When you name a database or when you name a table, just name them something that is meaningful. So I'm just going to name this database 1 so that I can name the second database that I'm going to create using code database 2, so that we can differentiate between those two databases. But if you were creating maybe a database for a certain department, or HR or finance, you might want to name them something that is meaningful, something that the next person won't have to struggle looking at the database. Same goes as tables and stock procedures and almost everything that you work with. Just name them something that it's meaningful. So I'm just going to click on OK. And this created our database. As you can see, we have database 1 here. So if I just click on this database, we don't have any tables yet. We don't have any views. Even if I go to stock procedures, there's nothing in here because we haven't done much. Actually, we haven't done nothing in this database now. So I'm going to show you the second method of creating a database. So just go to your systems database, go to your master, and then click on new query. And I'm going to show you the code version of creating a database. So now I'm going to write a create statement. Let me just zoom this in for you so you can actually see. So this is the create. I don't know if that's enough. Let me set it to 140. I think that should be enough. So I'm just going to write a simple create database statement. And now you want to give it your database name. Let's name it database 2. And actually go and execute a query. So you can see now that it says commands completed successfully. So now your database is not showing here. That is because your system or your folders haven't yet refreshed. So what you need to do is just highlight your database folder and then click on refresh there, or you can just right click on it and navigate to the refresh and then click refresh. And now you can see that you have two databases. This is the first database we created using the interface, and this is the second database that we created using our code here. And now what I'm going to show you guys is how to actually delete or drop a database. But I'm not sure if I should be showing you guys this, because we're only just getting started with this stuff, and I don't want you guys to be deleting databases, because once you delete your database, all your data, all your tables, everything that it's in that database is going to be gone. Like, you can't retrieve that. It's gone with the database. So do not delete your databases unless if you're sure what you are doing. So the first way that you can do, you can delete your database is you can use your interface to delete your database. So just right click on the database that you want to delete. This goes the same ways for tables as well and other objects that sit in a database. And then navigate to delete, and then just go there and say delete. And now if you see here, your database 1 is deleted. So now if you want to drop or delete the database using code, so I'm going to show you guys how to write that. So it's the same, not really the same, but similar statements. Instead of create database, now we say drop database, and you give it the name of the database that you want to drop. So we say database 2. You can actually run this query, by clicking execute or just clicking F5. So if you just go F5, yeah, it executed the query and shows you that your command was completed successfully. And then you might ask yourself, you said we're dropping the database, but it's still there. Yeah, remember, when you do things mostly by code, you just have to make sure that you refresh your folders and then everything in the subfolders so you can see the latest changes. So let's just go and refresh that, and you can see here our database is gone. So that's it for today's video. So in the next video, guys, I'll be showing you how to create tables. We're actually going to be doing CRUD. So if you have watched up until this far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any future uploads. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.